And second, share the screen. Let me open a different project. The project that you have on your computer. And now we're really jumping. You know, if you noticed last time, we kind of covered the basic by last week. We covered the basic stuff of a little bit databases, a little bit Python. I introduced you really slightly to Django, and the rest of the course will be mostly Django. Okay, but saying Django is really saying Python because Django is written in Python. And over time, it will really make much more sense. The statement that I just said now will make much more sense. So let me open this project. And here we go. In your project, when you install all the applications you have inside really the Python, and you have the database installed on your computer, and you have the Django as a package. Very important comment I just made now, okay? I said Django as a package of Python, and in a second I'm going to explain. But before I start really diving into, okay, to remind you, last week we started a structure of Django. I'm going to repeat a lot of that today and dive into more stuff. And then we start really looking into what the role of every file. We talked about several things last time, and this one today we will expand. That's the objective of today's session. Learning a structure of applications in Django. Learning a project in Django. What's the difference between a project to applications? Okay, we'll go over it so many times until you really feel very comfortable. So I'm going to close everything. And certain things by the end of this semester, I'm expecting everybody ready to know by heart. Okay, so let's start. Let me make a comment first of all, talking about the installation. You have installed certain things. Okay, you know what? Let's write it. Writing, and then when you see the video, it will make your life easier as you see it. Let me open a new screen here. And let me write it down here. What did you install? You installed database. And that database called Postgres. And I understand that you had a session on Monday. And really, I encourage you, come to those practice. You know, my session will be mostly theoretical, structure, but you practice. It will really help you big time. And I know that you have covered also a little bit relationship between tables. You will see it will become to be so important. That's already installed on your computer as well. Okay. The next things, you install Python. Python is a programming language. Okay. Okay. So Python. So maybe we'll write here programming language. Okay, so that's Python. What else did you install? You installed PyCharm. What is PyCharm? PyCharm, it's really this application. Let me close this one. This one is PyCharm. What's the objective of PyCharm? It's to help us to be able to write code in Python, to write code in JavaScript, to organize the project. Everything is really we do with the program of PyCharm. By the end of the day, we end up with code that is written in a language called Python, and that's really what does the work. When you get to a much more advanced, even when you finish in certificate 3, I mentioned a little bit about deployment. What does it mean, deployment? After we finish, we want it to work on the internet. So we want to put it on a computer on Amazon or Google or Microsoft. What we're moving to there, we'll move the database, we will move the language, we will move the database to the computer on the Amazon or Microsoft or wherever we're putting it, the programming language. We do not transfer PyCharm. PyCharm is just a tool to help us to write a code in Python. Okay, that's very important. By the way, next semester, we'll see it's a little bit this semester, but next semester, we'll talk about another programming language, which will heavily, very important, it's called JavaScript. Okay, and the JavaScript, it's another language. It's the objective of the language in the JavaScript is, think about it. We will have a program that works here. Let's say, let's run it, by the way. Let's run it, so I will get back to that. Beautiful. I'm running. I have a program. I have a screen. This screen, it's what we call it the presentation layer. We have like 3 layers. JavaScript we use only on the computer of the user. Very important point. Let me emphasize that. We use JavaScript to do programming that is running on the computer of the user. On the other hand, Python we use to do code that run on the computer, on the internet. Over time, it will be clear. For now, it will be very hard for you to distinguish because you do everything on your computer. Okay? So you can't really tell. You think that everything is really running on your server. And there will be points that I will give you an example that can illustrate the difference between the two. For now, just remember, Python, it is on the server, meaning eventually on the computer that is going to serve everyone using your website, and Postgres going to be on the same computer eventually. JavaScript will be transmitted to the user as he's using it, but is run only on the computer of the user. Very important points. I will repeat it. Don't get confused. If you don't really understand it yet, I don't blame you. It's very hard to understand it for now, but as we go along, we will understand. But very important to notice, PyCharm, it is not something that we need by the end of the day. It's like, PyCharm is like helping us to write and do all of that stuff with those programs and those stuff. But it's already something we need in the end of the day, okay? But we will use mostly PyCharm. We'll have to really use it all the time, okay? I thought this is very important to realize that. Let me make it bigger so you can see it. And also when you watch the video again, you can see it better, okay? Let me just take some cells here out and make your life nicer, okay? So we have, again, database, and here we have a lot of tables. We use Python. By the way, we will use Python to manipulate the database, create tables, and all of that. We'll get to that. And JavaScript, it's mostly for the next semester. It's to run on the computer of the user, and it will know how to communicate to the Python that sits on another computer on the internet. And then they will interact. And over the course, I will repeat what I just said now. It will be much clearer. But for now, just remember that, okay? Now that we have seen that, let's move on. Let's get back to here. So what do we have in Django framework? So we can make an order in our head. We have a project. By the way, this is really the project. What the project is really managed. It's called trades. The reason I call it trade, it's not really because any special, because when I was building this course 3 years ago, I used that for some application that I showed some finance people. So I call it trade, but it really doesn't matter. You can give it any name, okay? For example, last time I showed you the project of Academy City, that was really for Academy City. So I can call it any name I want, won't make a difference. So we have a project. That's one thing, very important. Under the projects, as we said last time, we put the applications. By the way, it's very recommended. It's not a must. You can shuffle those around. You might see somebody showing you videos on the internet, and it doesn't really make it in this order. But good programmers, experienced programmers, work very organized. So we always put them under a directory called apps for applications. So all of those are applications. You might not have all of them, okay? You definitely have the to-do, you definitely have the main, okay? And others, and we talk about the rest as we go along, okay? And okay, so we have a folder for applications. Media, and definitely should be there, static. Those two are special folders. They are holding pictures, special files that we talked about them, some JavaScript that I mentioned before. We might put them in the static. Let me see if I put some. I might, yeah, I do. Okay, see, this is, for example, it is a folder, it is a file that have JavaScript code. It's empty, funny. I probably empty that. But basically I can write some JavaScript. I can write a function, and that will be in JavaScript. This function, and that that's a structure of writing a function in JavaScript, different than the way we learn in Django. Okay. By the way, let me do that. Maybe later on we might use it just for demonstration. Okay, I might use it later on, okay, just to demonstrate. But we really spend more time in the next semester. Okay. So static file can have also documents. Here we go. This is a Word document that I can put there. Can have pictures. And usually it's a good idea to distinguish. By the way, styles, you will see, we'll use styles as, those are files that are really helping us to shape the website. Okay, let me make again the same comment I said many times before. If you don't absorb everything I said today, don't panic. I'm going to repeat it so many times because I'm aware that nobody can absorb so much in the beginning. You have to practice. You have to see it many times. Then it makes sense, okay? So styles, we put different other, by the way, this is used mostly for making the web page look nice, putting a font, putting sizes, colors, and all of that stuff. And you will see, as I said, that goes very well with JavaScript and what we do in the next semester. Okay, then could be other things, maybe some material. Let's say, for example, images for that specific application. I put it here separately, and as we go along, I will emphasize it more and more. For now, just remember, that's all what I want you to remember. There are two folders, media, static, in which we put certain file, pictures, documents, some code in JavaScript. In the media, mostly 99% of the time, we will put pictures. And you will see how Django help us to put the pictures there automatically. So one distinguish between media and static, although both of them hold files, the media we always, okay, use it with Python, and that's done automatically for us. You will see, okay? So whatever I have in the main, okay, it could have been put by the Python itself, and you will see, and I will demonstrate a lot. Again, what I want you to remember, in a project, we have applications file for many applications, as many as we need. We have another folder called media for putting pictures there, mostly done by the Python, and settings, which is for pictures, files. We usually do put them by ourselves and then link them in certain ways. There's two more that I would like to emphasize. One, I mentioned a little bit last time, it's the setting. This one help us to put certain things. I won't spend too much time this semester, but I put a lot of the important things as we go along, okay? What does it mean setting? The most important setting, we did it for you when you did the installations. We put here the information about the database. I always forget in these projects if I put it here or I put it on the base regarding the data for this project. I put it for you in the dev. Here it is in the dev. This is the information that relate to how you connect to the database. Remind you, we have Python. We have Python, and Python has to communicate to the database. How does it communicate? Usually when you go to the database, you need to know where it is. You need to put a user ID and password. So if Python accessing a database, Python have to transmit the user ID and password to the database. So Django, whoever designed Django, which is beautiful design really, okay? They said, okay, you know what? Why don't we put the data here? And every time we need to use the connections to the database, don't worry about it anymore. We just put it there. We'll connect for you. By the way, I don't know if you still remember, when you installed the database, you used the pgadmin, you might have forgotten. And we created a database by the name threads. We made the user by the name of threads, and we made a password SQL 1PSS. That's what we did at the time. We can forget about it, really. Okay? Now we can always connect. By the way, there is two more things, just general knowledge. A host, it means where does the computer exist? Local host mean that the database is really on my computer. By the way, you can, instead of a local host, you can have type 127.1.0.0.1. It's the same things. And computers, their names are really numbers. And your own computer, the number that is common in the industry, it's 127.0.0.1. But to make it nice, they have changes. You can use also the same things, just like local host. Local host, it means your own computer. So everything we're going to do in our course, we're going to communicate with a database that is already installed on your computer. By the way, you can have connected to some computer sitting totally in the internet, but you will need the number, or what is known as an IP address, okay? IP address is the number of that computer. But that will leave for other times, okay? For now, all what we need to know, it's already set up perfect for you, okay? Another last things is how do we communicate to the database? There's something called port. Port is like a channel. I can approach the database in many ways. Don't worry about it now. For the database of Postgres, it's always the same one, 5432. You can even really forget about everything I said now. This is a good general knowledge. Whatever you absorb, it's perfect. What I want you to know that you did connect, you put the information to connect to the database in the setting, which is in this directory, okay? Last and not less important, there are templates. We'll talk a lot about templates. And we'll have 2 sessions. We'll talk next time, and then we'll come back after we'll do some other things. We'll come back to templates. And next semester, we will spend a lot about templates, okay? It's very important things. Templates are really basically the HTML we build, but Django have done beautiful work. And by the way, just a side comment, Django even helped us and introduced for us another language called Jinja. You don't really have to remember it, okay? And Jinja is really helping us, by the way, to build up those templates in a smart way. When you get there, it will make much more sense. You don't have to remember that now. Just templates are web pages. We put web pages in templates. How template works in Django, that's what we'll do in the next sessions, okay? Okay, very good. So we covered really all the folders, the main folders that we have in a project of Django. By the way, you can add many of your own, and I do that a lot. Many times I add data. I put Excel files there, put some other stuff in different places for different reasons, but you really don't have to. The other one don't really belongs for that course for now, and I skip them. Manage, I mentioned. This is the file we always use here in the bottom. When we run the server, you can tell we run Python, and Python is the program in which we use. We're running this program. This is, by the way, a file that has some program. We don't really know enough in Python, but basically you can look from the minimum knowledge that you have learned, you can tell there is a function here called main. There's another function, another condition here. I'm not going to even waste your time on that. You really don't need to. Django did the whole work, so why waste the time? It works, okay? And you don't really need to know more than that for now. Eventually, when you be professional, okay, and you finish certificate 3, then you get into those kind of little things. You do it once and forget about it. By the way, I did for Academy City, and I didn't touch it for the last 3-4 years. For now, don't waste your time. The only thing is you need to know, you run Python and manage. Why I'm emphasizing, because to run this one, you have to be in the same directory. If you notice here, it's at C, ins, projects, threads, web, and then I run the command, which really means I have thread, webs, okay? And then I have under that, the manage. The manage, it's not inside the project's files, it's outside, okay? So sometimes happen to many students, they try to run it, they run the program, try to run it, and they don't know why it doesn't work. Let me move one directory up. CD, 2 dots, it takes me one directory up. If I try to run this program now, it will not run because I'm not in the right place. So make sure you be in the right place. So if you are in this place, you do change directory, web, and it will take you to the right place. When I'm in the right place, this command will work perfectly. Okay, this is really another thing, it's very important. And now the project is running. I'm going to stop it again and we play with it in a second. Okay, let's dive in. Let's dive in. A project. Where is the starting of the project? I repeat what I said last time. It's this file. It's inside the project. It's a file called URLs. It's done by Django structure. By the way, it has proven itself to be really a nice architecture. So this is the first point in a project. Let me rerun it again and do a lot of things we did last time, but believe me, I'm aware to what I did last time. I always love to repeat, and people that study with me knows I love repeating, because I do believe in order to be excellent and study sophisticated stuff, you really do have to repeat. You have to review that at home, okay? A lot. And then you can learn more and more and add to it. So what do we see here? By the way, this is exactly 127.0.0.1, and this is what is known as a port. By the way, you can run many programs at the same time using different ports, but that's again for advanced classes. For now, we just accept it. I got to this page. How did I get to this page? When you go to the browser, by the way, I can take this one, okay? And let's close everything. Let's close this one. I have another browser, by the way. I just wanted to feel comfortable. After I ran this one, it's like PyCharm was nice to me. It built up like a web server. It's like it took the whole code of Python and everything, put it on another machine kind of, and now when I want to access it, I access it like a regular web page, although it is really on my computer. So to demonstrate it, I'm going to open another browser, totally different browser of Microsoft. I'm going to open another folder. I'm going to copy that address to here. It's not the previous one, and see what happened. Really interesting. Enter. Here we go. I got the same page. What's going on? See the way it works. From the browser, is going to look for a computer that has number 127.0.0.1. And the browser knows this is really your local computer. That means they have all these websites sitting on your computer, and you communicate to it with port 8000. Okay? So what it does, it's looking for that place, and what it does, it goes to this file. This file, it goes the first time. And by the way, there is a whole list in which one is going to. If you look here, sorry, I was working on this one. There's nothing after the 8000. If there is nothing after the 8000, is looking in this file for the first place that it doesn't find anything here on the first part. By the way, you can see each one of those has 3 elements, okay? Some of them sometimes have only 2, okay? Special ones, okay? And some of them will have 3, okay? In this file, you will have always 2, mostly 2, okay? You can add another one. But this one is kind of the main navigator to the applications. I repeat that, these URLs in the project is the navigator to the projects. Which projects do you want me to take you to? And since I didn't specify anything here under that, I can even put a slash here, it won't make a difference. I didn't specify anything, so it is looking for the empty place. Which place, which one, it has an empty? This is the only one. All the rest, please pay attention, it has some stuff in it, okay? So since I didn't put anything, is going to this row, and what does it say here? It says if you get to here, Python now get into play. He said, okay, you mean you want me to navigate you to this program, to this file in this program. Where does this program exist? Oh, no problem. It's in the Threads project. Here we go. Threads project. Inside a directory apps, inside a directory apps, I should find there an application by the name main. Here we go. Where is main? Here it is. And inside that application, you should find a file by the name URLs. By the way, all the files have extension of py, like Python. But really, when you write it here, you don't have to put it. So what it really means now, if you didn't put anything, I'm going to take you to this file. So it is taking me to this file. I double click on this file, I get to this file. Okay, what do we see here? Oh, very similar. Look, very similar. Don't get intimidated by a lot of things you don't understand yet. You will, don't worry. One thing, please notice, it says application name main. That means it is navigating me to the main application. Okay, very nice. So that's one thing you should pay attention. You'll see every application, you will see something similar, app name and the name of the application. This is the main application. Then you get something similar to what we saw here. By the way, path of or URL are very similar idea, okay? And you can use either or, and they are very similar. Usually in the application, usually not always, I use the URL, and in here I many times use the path, but it really doesn't have to be that way, okay? But what do I see now? Okay, pay attention. When I wrote this one here, I have nothing. So means what he's going to do in the new file is going to continue looking for nothing. But the URL is a little kind of require a little bit. You don't really have to follow it. I could have removed those ones. It will work just fine. But it's really common to say, I'm starting and ending. The head is starting with what? I could type something. And ending the $ is the end of the string, which I'm going to put inside. But since I didn't put anything between those two, the head and the $ mean if you don't put anything, then I'm going to take you to this function. One more time, if you start and end, but you didn't put anything in between, I'm going to take you to this function. In another word, since I didn't specify anything here, it's going to take me to that function. Okay? So, but what that function going to do? Let's look at it. So where is this function? Where is it? By the way, you can tell there's a lot of stuff here on the tab. Okay? I'm going to delete it for a second, and I'll put it back in a second. Okay? These are very important things, and you're going to use it a lot. I didn't mention it in our training in Python, but you're going to use it a lot. I might have mentioned. If I want to use a function that is in another file, I have to bring it to this file. I will repeat. If I want to use a function, a class, or anything from another file, I have to bring it to this file. And how do I bring it? By the command from, and from where? By the way, when I put a dot, it means for Python, it is in the same directory as this file I'm using now. Which file am I using now? I'm using URLs. So where is this URL exist? It's in this directory. So if I put a dot, it means I want to bring some function from another file in the same directory. No surprise, if you have a good eye, you can see that really you can have all the stuff on the same. By the way, we have here mothers, admin, you will see all of those are from here. And one of them is views. So if I start typing like a V, you can see he removed all the rest and he left me with the view. By the way, I can click on it and he automatically write import. You notice that? I will repeat that. It's very important. The beginning, it's hard, but I know eventually it will be easier. I just put the dot. You already gave me the list of a lot of things that I have under in the same directory. And views is one of them. So I can click on it. Oh, by the way, you can use the tab keyboard in the keyboard, the tab key in the keyboard. Tab, it will automatically will type it for me and it will write import. What do I want to import? I want to import a function called home. I already have written the function. That's why he knows that. Oh, if you had a good eye and he noticed, see what happened to this word. If I remove that one from here, see what PyCharm, this is PyCharm, is putting a giggling kind of a line here below the home. That means I'm trying to use a function that I haven't defined or I didn't say what it is. But in a moment, I'm bringing it to this file from another file by typing home. Look what happened. It knows where this function exists. In another word, when I type now empty the domain, which means the name of the computer plus the port, and I don't put anything, what it does is really bringing me through here to the empty, go to the applications main, goes to this file, goes and see the empty place and takes me to the function. And he knows where it is. By the way, there's a command that you will use it, a control and a slash will take you there to that, sorry, control slash again. I will go back, my mistake. I take it back, control and B, the letter B, it will take you to the function. We'll do it many times, don't worry. Control B, you'll get used to it. But at least now I already defined, I'm gonna put back what used to be before, so I won't get any errors. See, all the other functions, we have a lot more function. For now, we're just focusing on one. So I'm gonna put all of them, okay? So I'm gonna remove that one, I don't need that, I have that. And by the way, I'm not importing only this one, there's a lot of functions in this file, as we will see in a minute. But for now, I want to focus only on the home, okay? Because that's the objective of the course today, of the session today. I want to go to the home. I do Control B. I pay attention and put the cursor on it, or I can just manually go to the file here, Views, and look for it. Here we go. This is the function. What this function does, it's a special function that repeats itself. You will see, very similar. All of them have a lot in common. One thing we have in a lot of them is the render function. Man, where this function come from? Remember, if I want to use something, it has to come from somewhere. Also, I'm defining a home function. So far, I understand. But I'm putting in parentheses a variable request. I never defined that. By the way, if you open here the import, okay, there's no such a thing as request. By the way, this is the default Django. Django automatically does it for me. So let's not bother with it. There will be a lot of things that I will repeat myself. So don't bother with it now. Eventually it will make sense. And the more advanced you get, the more you see how sophisticated they build this framework. It's really a piece of art. Honestly, I think those people did beautiful job, beautiful. But it's not really only a small group. There's thousands of people. They're developing and adding to it. That's what is known as an open source. A lot of people contributing, and then other people can use it, okay? Okay, so request is automatically put there by Django and has a lot of things. For now, we're not going to use it. The only thing is we're going to use inside the return, which we have seen in the introductory to Python, meaning this function going to return something. And what is it returning? Whatever this function does. Let's ignore this one for now. We don't really need to don't bother with that part. The only things I would like to focus is, what is this function? By the way, you can see it's in the import. It's one of the things that you always import in here. And you can go and see, here it is. It's the render. We're importing it from another libraries that Django have written. Django has a lot of Python packages, libraries. You can call them any way you feel comfortable. Somebody have written it in Django, a sub-library called shortcuts, and inside it put a special function, a very smart function. What does it do? It knows how to take a template and send it back to the user. I repeat the sentence. It's a very important sentence. This function has the ability to take a template and return it to the user. We need to know where do we put it? Where is it sitting really? We talk about it. And this is what I will talk about in a minute, not now, okay? But let's focus on where is this template exists. And remember, template, it's a web page. So this is supposed to be a web page. Where is it? It's supposed to be, by the way, in the directory, special directory that we have in the main application. Remember, we got to this place from the main application. So where we're going to put the templates that belong to the main application in the main folder. And under the main folder, we always, under every application, you will see templates. Like if you go to the billings, we'll talk about, you'll have a folder called templates. You go to BizLand, we have a template. And this one, we didn't do a template. We should. Maybe we didn't use it. Okay. But most of the other one, you will see Game Store, most likely. Here is a template. All of them really should, unless it's a special fund. It's a special application. You will see there's some special, but 99% of them are special one, okay? Are the same, besides some special. Core, for example, you will see. But even in the core, I did put just for testing purposes, but I barely use it there, okay? But under every application, we will put a templates folder, and you will use it a lot. Please pay attention to something that doesn't make sense now, and eventually it will make a lot of sense when you get to deployment. By the end of the third course, you'll know why, definitely. But for now, just do it this way, and it works perfectly. Under the template, always make a directory call by the name of the application. You see, it's kind of look crazy. I have application name, I make a template, and I make another one by the same name. Why? Eventually, Django combining all those templates from all the application, so they don't get mixed up. That's why we write the name here again. But you can forget about it. Just do it, and over time it will be much clearer. Under that, we have the templates. So which template I'm going to use? A template called home.html. And it is really under the main. I don't really have to write more than just the first one that is under the template. If it's under the template, immediately, I don't really need the main. But if it's in the main, which is under the template, I must put the name of the directory. Most of the time you'll put the main. I think in other places as well, we use probably main. Okay, let me see another example. Here we go, main, because this one is also here. Here you have, this is a special one, but here we go, main, you have that one, etc., etc. Okay, so we put usually all the templates in the same place under a directory by the same name of the application, which is under a template, templates, plural, which is under the application directory. Okay, so now we know where it finds. So Django, looking for it, this function, take this one and send it to the user. But before it's sending it, it is transferring to it something. I'm not going to focus on it yet. In a second, I will talk about it. For now, I just want to focus on this one. And you know what? Just to make life easy, let's make it empty. I'm not going to remove it altogether. I'll put it back in a second. Okay? Let's open this template. Where is it? Home, home, home. Anybody see home here? Which one? It's home. The home is right here. I double click on it, and that's the beauty about PyCharm. You can open a lot of kind of, by the way, this is different. This is the HTML file, and this is a Python file. Okay, and you will see, we'll see a JavaScript file later on. Okay, mostly as I said in the next semester. CSS file, a lot of kind. PyCharm knows how to handle all of that. And by now, I would like to, you know what, I would like to delete the whole page for now. Okay, just for easy understanding. I'm going to make HTML so we can really understand it better. We always have a header, which is a head, which we're going to put things inside. For now, I'm going to keep it empty. You know what, hold a second. Let me do the following. I want to copy the code here before I'm going to destroy it. So I'm going to make a copy of this file. I'm going to play with it so we don't really have to. Let me just make a copy of it. Just simply what I usually many times do, I just put an underscore there. So I have a backup and for now. And I'm going to delete the whole things and do what I just want doing. I'm starting with HTML. By the way, this is a protocol. It's all the language. Here's another thing you need to know. It's a homepage. I'm doing a very simple homepage. I'm going to put there a head. I made a mistake. Head. And I would have a body. Every web page have those two. Okay, body and head. Okay, so this is the two parts that we always have in every web page. I'm going to write a name here. Let's write a name of who is user, or maybe someone, one of you guys. Let's pick up one of you. Who do we have here? How about, who else do we have? We have Laura. So let me write Laura name. Laura. Fair enough. And I'm supposed to really see now this page. Okay, why should I see this page? Because if I'm navigating to this location, it's going to end up eventually going through the whole process. It's going to go again. Let me do it again. Okay, please don't intimidate, do it. Okay, and I will ask you, you will see. I'm going to go to here. I'm going to go to the place that is empty. It's going to take me to the main application. I'm going to the main applications. The main application is going to take me to the main application, to the URLs file under the main. Here we go. I go to here. From here, I'm getting to this place. This one taking me now, it looks like, wow, what is all of that? But eventually it makes a lot of sense. And I get to here. And eventually it's going to send me to the browser, this one. By the way, this was the old one. If I refresh it, I'll get the new page. Look at it. I have LoRa here. Everybody see LoRa? Because now I have a very simple web page. But at least we understand the flow of Django. That's the objective of the session today. A little bit to understand about HTML, okay? So here we go, I have LoRa. And let's make it bigger. And that's a little bit HTML. And please, in the practice, they will introduce you to the W3 schools, and they will tell you, look, you can study a lot. I recommend you do, okay? So they will really direct you. Go there, learn a little bit, step by step, and accumulate knowledge. For now, I'm just going to just make LoRa a little bigger. There is one that you can put a tag called H1, make it a big one. So if I write LoRa in this way, I will have, LoRa will show much bigger. Let's do it again. I'm sorry, let's go back to this one. And refresh, and LoRa will look bigger. This just gives you a little sense that you can really write and modify and a lot of things by knowing HTML. But what I would like to explain now, one more things, before I will return to the other stuff that I deleted, I would like to add another things. I don't want to put the name of LoRa here. And in the future, you see why. For now, I want to remove it from here. But I still want it to be there. And Django have developed a very interesting structure. He said, go to the function, and you can make a variable in Python. You can call it anything you want. I will call it title. And what that variable you wanted to have, you know, I'm going to put here LoRa. And how this variable is going to go from here to this template. The way we do it, by making a dictionary in Python, you have learned dictionaries. Now you see how we use it. As I promised, everything we learn, we use. We don't learn something we don't use, okay? And we use so much, so you're going to learn a hell of a lot, okay? How do I transfer it to the template? I transfer it by making a dictionary. But this is a little tricky. I will do it twice, okay? And to explain. In a minute, I usually do it this way, although you don't have to. I type title. That's the name of a variable. And now I'm attaching this variable to the Python variable. I just happen to do that they will be the same name. And I'm going to change it in a minute so you will really understand it. For now, I just use the same name. But this one is a Python variable. This one, it's a variable I'm transferring by the help of the dictionary to this template. Okay, so far so good. And in a minute, I'm going to use it and I will go repeat myself again. How do I use it? I go into here and I use the Jinja language. I make a double quotation and I can write title. Now, what I did is I wrote a variable here, LoRa. I put the value in a variable called title, and I transferred the title to another variable which going to go to the template. And that variable I'm using inside the template. And how do I use that variable? I put it in quotation curly bracket. Let's see if it works. Do we get the same things? We should. Let's refresh it. Nothing changed. meaning it works fine. So to convince you that I didn't cheat you, let's put here, okay? Let's put Laura is excellent student. Now, see what's going to happen. When I refresh, I will see something else. Why? Because in this variable, I wrote a whole sentence. I transfer the whole sentence as a variable to the template. In the template, I put it in this curly bracket. So it's going to put here, Laura is an excellent student. So let's see if that's really what it did. Let's refresh. Bingo, that's what it did. Very interesting. So we learned a hell of a lot today. We learned how we can really create a variable in Python, transfer it to the template, and how to put it inside the template. Very important, very, very important skill. Let's go one step ahead. And that's a very important thing that I would like you to, one doesn't like me. It's happened to me many times. What it happened? What could happen to you? And oh my God, help me. Okay, let's see if I can get away with it. Here we go. Let's see if you would like me. Yeah, it did. Happens sometimes, but now it's just fine. Okay, so let's look at the view again. The view again. But now I'm going to do a small change. I'm going to call it title 1. Just make it up. By the way, it's not going to work anymore. It doesn't know what title 1 is. In fact, it does. Python knows what title 1 is, but I cannot transfer it. So I have to change it here. Now what I did is, now it will work because Python variable, it's title 1. I'm transferring it to the template by the name title. So I don't really have to do any change here because I'm using title. It's going to work. And how do you know it works? Just go here again and refresh. It should work. It did. And pay attention. If I only changed the one here and I didn't change it here, it's not going to work. Python called this phrase or this sentence title 1. And I'm trying to transfer title, but it doesn't know what title is because it's not defined in Python. So I'm going to get an error. Let's try. I'm going to get an error. See, I got an error. The reason I got an error because I tried to transfer a variable not defined in Python. So many times, if I need to distinguish, many times I put an underscore. And a lot of people do. That's my practice. And I put underscore to distinguish between the name I put inside Python. And by the way, I can name it whatever I like. It's just a comment that I always do. I give it a name like the same as I transfer it to the template. I just put underscore so I don't get confused. And that's easy to confuse. That also should work. That should also work. Go back here, let's refresh, and it does work. Okay, so we learned a little bit about Jinja stuff. Okay, by the way, we will play with it a lot. The most important will be in the future that we're not going to transfer to the template only some simple variable. We're going to transfer much more than a simple sentence. We might transfer a whole table. We might take data from a database and transfer it to the template. And inside the template, we will generate a nice HTML. By the way, look at the way the template looks like here, okay? But look at the way it looks like here. How do you know how it looks like here? By the way, do right click and make view page source. This is the way the HTML look like. Let me increase it, make it big so you can see. Look, in the real HTML that got to the browser, he doesn't know about Jinja language. He just sees the sentence. He doesn't know how it was created. hey, what's going on here? So let me explain it. It's very important. What's really happening? What are the steps? When we get into finally to the view, okay, the view, take a phrase or a sentence, move it to a variable in that goes to the template. The template, it's on the server. It's happening on the server. The template, take whatever is inside here, remove it, already removing it, and copying this stuff from here and putting it here. And after doing that, is sending it to the user. So it's only happening on the server, but the final user get this page. And that's the way it works. Very important. You will practice also a lot with your friend. By the way, I could have written another sentence if I wanted. Let's do a H2 will make smaller one. And I would like to make a, let's say, let's call it subtitle. And in the subtitle, I'm going to write something else. Okay. So I go to the view, and in the subtitle, I'm going to write some other variable, subtitle underscore equal she lives in Kampala, Uganda. Here we go, 2 sentences. Okay, how do I transfer 2 sentences? I can transfer them as 2 variables. I'll make another variable, sub. By the way, many times I do it this way. I'm lazy. You get to know me, I'm very lazy. So this is the variable I'm going to transfer to the template. And here, start type sub, it will come up again. And here we go. Now I'm transferring really 2 variables to the template. So in the template, I can use 2. That's why I'm using subtitle. That's going to work. I'm going to see 2 things now. Let's go and see if that's correct. Refresh. Oh, here we go. This is bigger because I use H1. This is a little smaller because I use a little smaller. Everybody got it? Questions, guys? Everybody happy? I'm trying to go as slow as I can, and don't hesitate to stop me. Guys, for first time to see it, it's hard, okay? So don't be hard on yourself, okay? Believe me, you should really see it several times, and eventually it makes a lot of sense, okay? So, and you can make as many variables as you wish. I'm gonna do one last things for today, and that will be enough for today. I'm gonna do something called inheritance, okay? And then next week, I will complete the other stuff we learned in the, maybe I will get to that even today, but let me go back to the templates. Let me see, okay? And I'm going to use another template. It's called Best Man. So before, let me see what it's there. Oh, there's a hell of a lot of stuff. I don't want to confuse you. So I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to use another one. I'm going to call it right here. I'm going to make another template, another HTML, and I'm going to call it base.html. Okay, I did a mistake. I didn't name it right. Did I name it right? Did I put the dot? Yeah, I did. Okay. Now this is empty. Okay. And I'm going to take everything from this web page. Those 2 stuff that I did. Remove them from here. And put them here. See, it has the body. There's something other stuff here. I'm going to remove them for now. I'm going to remove these ones. so you don't get confused. You will learn them over time. Exactly the same as we had before. This is exactly what we had here. I just removed it from here. You know what? I'm going to delete the whole things from here. Of course, I'll get an empty page. This one is referring really to the home HTML, but the home HTML is totally empty. So we're going to study something. And if you see here in the one that I commented out, okay, it's something that I wrote here. I'm just copying this one. I'm going to close it. Okay, I'm going to put it here. And what did I do right really now? Please pay attention. I put a file called base here. And I'm going to change this one here to be the same name. I'm going to run it, show you what happened, and then I will explain. Okay, let's do it. What happened? I got all of that stuff. In fact, the truth of the matter, I should have got that one. Hey, did I transfer? For a second, I think I made a mistake. What is my mistake, Daniel? Can you fix it? What is the mistake I did? I have a base. Maybe I'll call it base one. So just for fun. So we don't get confused here. We'll refactor and rename it to one. I don't want to play with it. Just call it one. It really doesn't matter. Let's run it again. Let's see what I get. Fresh. Hey, I got the same things as before. Pay attention. What did I do? I made a file. I know why it happened before. I made another file, totally empty. By the way, best one. In fact, the best one has everything I had before, you know, and I moved it to this one. And in the home, I just refer to it. By the way, this reference means copy everything's in here into here. I repeat it. When I write it this way, in another word, curly bracket, I'm sorry, curly bracket, parenthesis, and I will use the word extends, and I write the name of the template. What it does, it takes everything in here and it copies that to here. That's all what it does. Therefore, I really didn't do anything. I just put the whole things that I used to have here, I just put them here. Correct? By the way, I could just copy the whole things here. And I don't really need this one and put it here. And that's it. Why am I doing it? Why I'm doing it by putting everything from here and then just referring to it. In a second, I will explain. Okay? In a second. Very powerful things, extremely powerful. But for fact, he knows how to copy from that base one to the home one, everything. Now I'm going to make a little difference. By the way, everybody sees here, it says 127.001, 8,000. I don't like it. If you notice, a lot of web pages will tell you what's going to be there. And there is a way to do it, okay? By the way, if I go here and I go to the header and I will write here title, and I will write here Laura, okay? See what happened. Let's go here, refresh. Up, you wrote Laura here. Did you see that? You wrote Laura here. Okay? So still, it's nice to know, but I haven't explained why I'm doing another HTML, bring it to here, and why I'm doing it. And here is the point. I want to explain one last thing for today, and that will be enough for today. I'm going to explain blocks. What do I mean by blocks? First of all, I will do it, and then I will explain, as I usually do. I start with, I usually like to do it this way. I write block. Usually for the title, we give it a name called title. I can give it any name I want. Okay, it's common. And then I will write another things, and I will write end block. Okay, close it. You know, when you don't have a lot of blocks, that's fine. Common, when you have a lot of them, you might put and down long, and as you will see, you might end block and you put here the name, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, let's run it. Let's see what happened. Nothing happened. So why did I do it? In a second, you'll see. Okay, let's write here instead of Laura, just base. What's going to happen now? It's going to write base because this is the base file. So here we go. It says base. But hold a second. I'm using data about Laura. I don't want it to say base. Can I change my mind? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And how do you do that? And that's one of the reasons. I can take the whole block from here and put it into here. And I say, you know what? I can use this one as a base for a lot of templates, as we will see in the future. If that sentence didn't make sense to you, don't worry. It will eventually. What I can do now, I can just copy this one. Instead of base, I will write there Laura. And what it does now, wherever it sees a block and the one is extending, is taking whatever inside here and replace whatever it's here. So it's going to change based by the word Laura. Okay, let's run it. Oh, it did. You see, they're very powerful, extremely powerful. And you will see, it will get much more. Okay, and you will see how nice it's allowing you so much to do in the client side. For me, it was so important today to close all those points. To next time, we're going to dive into more into the views, and then we'll go again, database, we'll make a tables, then we'll go back to the views, and then we'll go back to the templates until you really understand everything. By the way, some people say, Amos, you're not very smart. Somebody could have told me, oh, let's just type here Laura. By the way, it doesn't really care where you put it. I just like usually to do it this way. You could have done it this way. That's also will work. Take away this one out of here. Take this one out. That will work. Usually people don't do it, but it will work. I could have put the title here. Okay, and wrap it up. We'll do it a lot, but not in this case. Usually we don't do that for this one. Okay, we usually don't. It will work because the only things now we need to do this one, just to change the word Laura inside this place, which is inside the title. So it's going to work the same things. You'll see nothing will change. I get it, Laura. Okay. I think that's enough for today. I would love to hear questions, guys. You can extend a lot, by the way. You can do a lot of things. By the way, you could have done another blocks. Okay, and we will. Content block, footer block, and the senior student know, and they are getting much, much better. And you will see how you can make such a sophisticated website in such an easy way. So this is really extensions of Django using another language called Jinja and making your life easy to make templates. That's as far as we go in this course. Next course is maybe a little more, but the next course we spend a lot of time on this one because this is really what makes a web page nice. In this course, we really want to understand the heart of databases. We want to understand Python very well. So we're going to spend more time on those stuff next time, okay? And we'll spend more time on whatever I built up. Let me just delete everything. You know what, let's leave it for next time. We continue from here. I'll put the one that I just commented, and that's what we will continue for next time. Okay, questions, guys? Nobody has questions? Atim, any questions? Laura, Patricia, Brenda, Mildred, anybody? Anybody has questions? Wow, so quiet. Anybody can make a noise so I know that you guys there. Hi, Atim.
Hello, doctor.
Was it too
Yes,
hard?
please, doctor.
Was it hard, Laura, today? Liam? I think it should be easy for you. You have seen a lot of those. How do you feel, Laura? Does that make sense? Atim,
Yes, doctor.
are you comfortable? I advise all of you, honestly, watch the video at least twice, 3 times. Hey, remember Brenda? I used to tell you that, you didn't believe me. Now Brenda is expert on that. Mildred, she's expert on that. She have done it so many times. And in a while, it's hard, but after a while, you feel so powerful because you can do so many sophisticated way in such an easy way. And we build up step by step. Every week, we learn more. But please watch the video of today at least another couple times or 3 times. Don't be intimidated. That's really what I strongly recommend. Second, please do come on Monday. Continue coming for the practice. Brenda, Daniel, and Jimmy, they will help you guys. Okay, they will go over the stuff I covered today, and that will give you another practice, which will be really good for you. Don't get to the middle of the course, and then you accumulate so much knowledge, and you get lost. That's what happened in the university, isn't it, Brenda? That's why in the university, students don't know. But we work totally different. We don't rush to anywhere. We repeat ourselves many times. It's so important. Repetition, very important. Eventually you get it, and then you build up on top of it, okay? Unless you have questions, we say goodbye, and we'll see you next time, okay? Monday, same time, Brenda?
Yes, on Monday at
Okay.
5 p.m.
We'll post a Zoom, and see you next week. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.